Nathan took his medicinal herbs and dexterity pills back into the manor and locked the door to his chambers. Confident nobody was around, he immediately set about crushing up the pills and herbs. He then combined them all into his brass copper pot and began refining them over a small wood fire in his fireplace. The fire of the flaming flower and the ice of the frozen grass had fully merged with the clotting moss to synthesize the two herbs' effect into something far more potent. Pop, pop, pop. As he added water and stirred, the concoction bubbled, popped, and boiled over, slowly turning from a dull pink hue to a dark green color. Despite Nathan's confidence that he had correctly made the potion that was known in his old life as the Dexterity Elixir, he was still surprised by the smell. The alchemy had filled the room with a powerful odor that reeked of rotten eggs and curdled milk. Knock, knock. Nathan froze as Ulrich knocked on his son's locked door. "Nathan? Are you all right in there? What's that foul stench? I could smell it from the courtyard and thought the Clays had tried to poison us with a gas trap or something." "Yes, Father. Everything's all right. Hold on." Nathan sighed and unlocked the door to let his father in. Ulrich's eyes widened at the bubbling elixir in the cauldron over the fireplace. "Nathan, what the heck are you doing messing around with alchemy? Don't you realize this smelly substance could blow the whole manor down if you're not careful?" Ulrich sniffed the cauldron suspiciously and gagged. "Please, relax. I know what I'm doing. You needn't fret about it." Ulrich spotted the extra raw herbs and pills beside his son's bedside table. "Don't tell me you've been mixing flaming flower and frozen grass? Yes, but I promise you it's not dangerous. I've made this potion many times before." "When? When could you have possibly made this before?" Nathan laughed nervously as he scratched his head. "Did I say I made this before? I meant to say I read about it in an ancient scroll in the Academy's library. I read it over many times, so I'm confident it'll work." He didn't like lying to his father, but he also knew Ulrich wasn't capable of understanding what had happened to his son's soul just yet. "I didn't know you dabbled in alchemy over there. I'm surprised they had the knowledge to even teach you to refine medicine into potions." "I admit I learned a lot, mostly through trial and error, but this is perfectly safe. I'll show you." Nathan scooped out a bit of the elixir with a cup and went to drink, but Ulrich stopped him. "Wait, I don't know, Nathan. This stuff can be pretty volatile. I don't want you to hurt yourself." "Trust me, Father. This potion will be good for me. The herbs in the garden are basic enough that there's little risk of having a negative reaction. In fact, if I try it and the effects are positive, I'd like for you to drink this as well." Nathan drew from his past life that at beginner level 7, his body was ready to handle the dexterity elixir. In his mind, he chuckled at his father's apprehension. "The potions in this land are so basic compared to my past life. It amazes me how little alchemy is known. Well, perhaps this is something I can take advantage of." In the other world, he had been fortunate enough to study under one of the greatest alchemists who had ever lived, a woman known only as the Queen of Potions. After years of work under her guidance, he had amassed a vast knowledge on the subject before his soul came here. Although he only suspected it, it was true that even the greatest alchemists in all of Calandria could barely compete with Nathan's abilities when it came to the art of potion making. He had no way of knowing that the few who could cross-mix conflicting ingredients with any skill were highly sought after in this world. Many of them were snatched up by powerful lords or royal families and forced to work as private doctors for them. This world was far too focused on the skills of the sword and on political upheaval to make any real advancements in elixir refinement, at least as far as Nathan knew. Due to all of this, Nathan was taken aback by how apprehensive his father was about his potion. He knew there was only one way to set him at ease. "Cheers. To your health, Father." Nathan drank the potion as Ulrich tensed up and anxiously watched his son with bated breath. After a moment, Nathan frowned. Ulrich began to sweat. "Have I just allowed my only son to poison himself to death?" Just as Ulrich was about to call for Sir Yara, the healer, Nathan belched. "Burp." "Ah, that batch is strong. Son, are you all right?" "Of course, Father. Please, try some yourself. This dexterity elixir will help you with your own training. Even if you're stuck at a spiritual fighting level for years, this stuff can help you to progress. Go ahead, try a sip." After all, Nathan knew that even master-level warriors could use dexterity elixirs and other similar potions to improve their form and strengthen their spiritual techniques. Ulrich reluctantly took his son's cup and sipped on the potion. For a moment, his expression fell blank. "Father? Father? Are you okay?"
Burp.
"Okay? Are you kidding me? I feel incredible. Come, let's go to the courtyard at once. I'll call the guards over for a massive training session." "So, you're not mad about me taking all these herbs?" "Mad? How could I be mad? My son is an incredible alchemist already at such a young age. Take as many herbs from the garden as you wish." Ulrich was incredibly proud of his son's accomplishment. Even if the Hayfield family's spiritual warrior strength was somewhat weak compared to the other noble families, he knew his son's knowledge of alchemy could take him far, even, perhaps, to the chambers of the Calandrian royal family. Nathan smiled, elated by his father's change of heart. Ulrich flexed his muscles and began to stretch as he patted his son's shoulder and left the room. "Old Billy, call the guards. Let's put them to the test, eh?" Nathan finally realized how rare alchemists must be in this land, as his father's cheerful voice boomed throughout the manor. However, he had no real intention of pursuing alchemy as a way to garner fame or reputation. To Nathan, the art of potions was a means to an end, and that end was to become the strongest spiritual warrior the heavens had ever borne witness to. Rather than dwell on the state of his new world, Nathan took a deep breath and recentered his mind on the task at hand. He took another large gulp of the elixir from his cup and went to his bathroom, where he poured the rest of it into a large tub of cold water. As Nathan lay down in the tub and soaked his body in the potion-filled bath, he felt the spiritual energy of the power of Asura course through his veins. The magic form he had once mastered was weaving its way back into his new body. In his mind, he greeted the power of Asura like an old friend, and soon his skin glowed blue. But the potion's immediate effects were short-lived, and Nathan soon felt the power fade as his skin stopped glowing. "Huh? Wow, this elixir is far stronger in this world than I could have ever imagined." Nathan woke up the next morning before dawn, incredibly well-rested. It was as if he had slept for 10 days straight instead of a single night. He marveled at his own work as he left his chambers and silently crept out of the manor, making sure not to disturb his sister or father. "Excellent. With this kind of elixir at my side, I should be able to train twice as hard, if not 3 times as hard. I can definitely reach the first tier of the master level in less than 2 years." Nathan grabbed his 2 sacks of rocks and slung them over his shoulders in preparation for his daily hike up Mount Dunn. Even though he had finished building his bridge, he knew carrying the extra weight was helpful. Today, he filled the sacks to the brim and started lugging nearly 400 pounds in each sack. He chuckled as he began to huff toward the slopes. "Looks like I'm going to need bigger sacks." Nathan knew that even though he had the advantage of the dexterity elixir, the potion meant little if he didn't continue to push his physical body as well. After all, a tool is only as useful as the workman who wields it. When he reached the peak and sat overlooking the valley that harbored Dunshire, he activated his Asura Eye technique and marveled at the results. Already in a single day, his powers had grown. He could feel the energy of a fly taking off from a branch 100 feet beneath him. That afternoon, when he returned from his hike up the mountain, he spotted Baelor waiting for him just outside of Hayfield Manor.
"Baelor, how are you, my friend?" "All right, my lord, all right."
Truth be told, Baelor had been struggling the past 2 days. Even though he had left the Academy of the Mystic Blades at the same time as Nathan, Baelor had felt useless ever since. He had gained no glory from the duel. Baelor wasn't in any of the songs the bards sang. All Baelor had to show for his trouble was a closer relationship with Nathan. But Nathan himself was busy training all day. To put it bluntly, Baelor felt like a chump, a helpless follower of Nathan, just waiting to be rescued by his strong friend. Baelor had been given a taste of living a heroic warrior's life through witnessing Nathan's duel. It had made him hungry for more than the simple life of being a son of a small-town merchant. Baelor had always yearned to make something of his life, which was why his father, Podrick, had saved up the funds to send him to the academy in Gogrickshall in the first place. Baelor had wanted to honor his family name and impress his ancestors with his mighty deeds. Instead, he now spent his days wandering aimlessly around the hamlet, waiting to catch a glimpse of Nathan during his training. Sometimes he tried to follow Nathan as he carried the heavy sacks on his shoulders. But even with the burden of the weight, Nathan was too fast for Baelor. Sometimes Baelor tried to copy Nathan's sword-fighting movements with a stick as he sat on a hillside overlooking the manor's courtyard, yet somehow the trees on the hillside bested him. Up until today, Baelor had been too afraid to ask his noble friend for a favor, but over time, as his frustrations compounded, he'd grown desperate. Nathan sensed Baelor's mood immediately. Throughout the past couple of weeks, he had noticed Baelor stalking him and had been waiting for this moment.
"What is it, Baelor? What's wrong?" "Nothing. It was foolish of me to bother you with it. Anyways, I should leave you."
As Baelor turned to go, Nathan grabbed him by the shoulder.
"Wait, whatever this is, I'd like to hear it. Come on in, and we'll have some breakfast." "Are you sure? Really, you don't have to, but I guess I'll take some sausage on toast if you have it."
Nathan chuckled as he led the way inside the manor.